Olá, bom dia a todos e todas. Muito obrigada aí pela presença. A gente está com um pequeno atraso aqui no início, mas agora a gente já está começando. Deixa eu só... A gente está com um pequeno atraso aqui no início, mas agora a gente já está começando. Bom, então está todo mundo chegando aí. A gente demorou um pouquinho para começar a transmissão. Estou vendo pessoas tão queridas aqui. Bom, essa é uma primeira iniciativa que a gente tem no laboratório de fazer uma conversa, né, sobre Ayurveda. A gente aproveitou o dia do Ayurveda, que é comemorado, na verdade, em uma data variável, e esse ano caiu no dia 29 de outubro, que é o dia dedicado a Dhanvantari, que é considerado o pai do Ayurveda, né? Então, dentro das tradições hindus, o Dhanvantari teria sido quem ensinou o Ayurveda, né? Trouxe o Ayurveda para o mundo, né? Para os grandes sábios. E então, no dia de Dhanvantari, a gente comemora essa data tão importante para todo mundo que é professor, praticante, entusiasta, enfim, que está interessado em Ayurveda, tanto para a promoção da sua própria saúde, quanto da saúde das outras pessoas e do mundo ao seu redor. Bom, então, para a gente começar, a gente ter a presença aqui hoje da professora Vandana, que é uma grande professora. A professora Vandana, ela é graduada em Medicina Ayurvédica, ela fez o BMS, que é o Bacharelado em Medicina Ayurvédica e Cirurgia. Ela tem mestrado em Ayurveda pela Universidade Hindu de Banaras e é a fundadora da AyurveDatri, Soluções de Bem-Estar para Mulheres. É também a presidente da Associação de Ayurveda de Ohio, nos Estados Unidos. A Vandana, ela é natural de Varanasi e tem um profundo conhecimento das tradições védicas, como yoga e astrologia, o que enriquece a sua abordagem de cura dentro dos processos de terapia integrativa. A professora Vandana é coautora de vários livros de Ayurveda. Ela leciona no Centro de Saúde Integrativa da Universidade Estadual de Ohio e na Academia de Ayurveda do Kerala, nos Estados Unidos. Foi homenageada com o Prêmio Charaka por excelência no ensino, nas suas aulas. É editora do Journal of Education and Research in Indian Medicine, na Índia, e do Ayurveda Journal of Health, nos Estados Unidos. E a professora Vandana, né, a Vaidya Vandana, Ela acredita que abraçar os princípios holísticos e científicos do Ayurveda podem ajudar a cultivar vitalidade, equilíbrio e bem-estar em todas as fases da vida. Então, eu vou chamar agora a professora Vandana. Hi, Vandana. Nice to meet you again. It's a great pleasure for us to have you here in this special transmission dedicated for the Ayurveda Day. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation. I'm very honored to have you here. It's a great pleasure. So you can start your presentation, and after that, we can open few minutes for our audience to make questions and get more interaction with us. So thank you very much again.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Rina. Thank you for the introduction. Although you introduced in a language that I couldn't follow, but I'm thankful to you for inviting me. And before I begin, namaste to everyone. I welcome you all to my presentation. And I'm going to talk about women health. And I will simplify it for everyone to make sense. I would like to share my screen. So if you can please request Barbara to share my slides. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Yes, it is clear and visible to me. I will just request you to change the slides when I'm ready. So today I'm going to talk about Ayurveda just for women health and hormones, how we can have the balance and well-being for everyone. Next slide, please. Before I begin, I just want to read disclaimer. Practicing in the United States of America, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor of Ayurveda. And I'm legally bound to say that whatever I share, it is for educational purposes. Please do not consider it as a medical advice. Please whenever you make any changes, please confirm with your medical doctor. Next slide, please. So, what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda, it is said as Ayurveda. Ayurveda is very ancient science. In a limited sense of way, it is said as medical science. But when we translate, Ayurveda is a Sanskrit term. As it is ancient, Sanskrit was the language at that time. So Ayurveda is made of two words, Ayur and Ved. That means knowledge or science of life, the life that we live on this earth. And it is not just human being, all forms of life. When we consider it as a medical system, it is one of the most ancient system of medicine that has continuously been in practice. It comes from India. It is cultural and intellectual heritage of India. According to the classical Ayurvedic text, it traces its origins to God, like we are celebrating in Hindu calendar. It comes on the Kartik Mas, that is the month, on the Dhan Trayodashi, that is 13th day of the lunar month. So it is celebrated from 2016 as Ayurveda Day. This is the day when the birth of this teacher or sage or the god who had, we consider in today's word, it looks like that they had divine powers. Historians date, according to the documented classical text of Ayurveda, historians date Ayurveda to be 10,000 years old, and it is still practiced today. Why? Because of the efficacy, acceptance, and availability of Ayurvedic herbs. When I say still practiced today, we might want to know, go back in the history, and want to know that from India was under British rule, and from 1833 to 1935, practice of Ayurveda, teaching of Ayurveda was made illegal because British found that it is very hard to rule this country if they still practice their knowledge systems like we had our education system, Gurukul system. So practice of Ayurveda was made illegal and for 100 years, but it is practiced Why? Because it is effective. Why? Because it is universal in its approach. Why? Because it is simply helps us live a life of well-being, protect our health, and be in harmony with nature. Ayurveda is holistic in its approach. It is mind, body, soul, and senses science. Next slide. So when we say, if we can move to next slide, when we say Ayurveda is holistic, it considers us to be a whole, a combination of our mind, body, soul, and senses. When it say holistic, it is holistic in its approach that it considers us to be part of this nature, our environment, part of this cosmos or the universe. And how it is possible to understand that, or to the core to the practice of Ayurveda, is understanding the 5 element theory. That is, everything in this universe is made up of 5 elements. These 5 elements are space, air, fire, water, and earth. Their Sanskrit names would be Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. These 5 elements, this I'm presenting on a computer, it is made up of 5 elements. My body is made up of 5 elements. The food that I eat is made up of 5 elements. The difference between living and non-living beings is that living beings have soul. These 5 elements are present as 3 biological energies that we call Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. We use these Sanskrit words because in English language we do not find an exact translation in one word. It would be kind of a definition to describe. So we use these Sanskrit words. Vata is the energy of space and air. Pitta is the energy of fire and water. Kapha is the energy of earth and water. And they are the regulating principles of this whole universe. Next slide, please. We are born with our own unique composition of these 5 elements, qualitative and quantitative proportion of these 5 elements in our body. And when I say regulating principle of this universe, you may want to understand that in our body it is present as Vata, Pitta, Kapha. In the day, as it changes from morning to night, it is present as Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Early morning and evening are the Kapha time of the day. When the sun is hot and at the midnight, it is Pitta time of the day. And early morning, dawn, and dusk to midnight is Vata time of the day. We look up at the changing seasons also in terms of these 3 doshas or the 3 energies. Spring is distinctly Kapha season. You see, the new leaves are kind of, it is the time when the plants start growing after the winter. So it is dominant with the energies of earth and water element. So spring is distinctly Kapha season. Summer is hot, sun is high on the sky, and days are longer. So it is Pitta season. From the fall, you see it starts getting cooler and windy. So, and winter is cold, many times with snow here, and anywhere winters are cold. This is considered as Vata season. This energy plays along in our life from life to death. When we are born, Kapha energy is distinctly dominant because it is the growing phase of life. We need structural elements. Adult phase is associated with active phase of life, active reproductive phase of life, and people are into their professions, actively involved, and are the earning members. So it is Pitta phase of life. And as we age, is associated with degeneration and decay. Ayurveda calls it Charan and Dhiran. So it is distinctly Vata dominant phase of life. Next. When we look up at these 3 doshas as present in our body, modern science now recognizes it as Ayurgenomics, because when each of us are born with our own distinct combination of these 3 elements in our body, you can also understand it like this. How an embryo is formed when sperm and ovum come together. Sperm have its own 5 combination of 5 elements and the 3 doshas, and ovum has its own combination of 5 elements and the 3 doshas. When they come together, an embryo is formed. It have its own unique composition of qualitative and quantitative proportion of these 5 elements in it, which are present as 3 energies. While the embryo is growing in the mother's body, its composition of 5 elements is influenced by the lifestyle and food of the mother. But once the child is born, its 5 elements in the term of 3 doshas is set, and it does not changes in the lifetime of a person. And this is called prakriti, and this makes Ayurveda personalized in its approach. It also makes Ayurveda predictive science, because kapha people, because it is energy of earth and water, they have slow metabolism, their digestion is slow and delayed, they are highly likely to suffer from, say, obesity or diabetes or hypothyroidism. Pitta people have distinctly a fire element dominant in their body, so they are more prone to suffer from hypertension or GERD, acidic reflux, or ulcerative colitis, or various kinds of inflammations. Uh, Vata people, it is energy of space and air, and they age faster. It is that Vata people are more inclined towards all the diseases that are associated with pain, like migraines or pain during periods, dysmenorrhea, or various kind of arthritis, osteoarthritis. So Ayurveda is personalized, preventive, and predictive science, since it helps us understand our prakriti and maintain the balance. It also promotes good health. So Ayurveda is personalized, predictive, preventive, and promotive in its approach. Next slide, please. When we look up at the lifestyle of life stages of the women, we can very clearly, kind of very clearly demarcate it in stages. See, when a child is born, reproductive organs are present, but sexual tendencies are not. The hormonal changes start from adolescence and at around puberty, and we can consider the reproductive age of life when hormones start to come into the play is from menarche to menopause. After menopause also, hormones are receding in our body. So if we want to understand the hormonal balance, let us consider the life of women in 3 stages. That is, first phase is menarche, second is active reproductive period, and then the menopause. We can see here in the slide that these stages are associated with certain conditions when imbalances of the hormones happen. So during the adolescent period, when menarche is setting in, many girls experience irregular cycles or heavy bleeding or irregular bleeding. They are highly likely to get ovarian cyst or endometriosis. During the active reproductive phase, it might be associated with infertility, subfertility, endometriosis, fibroid. As the age advances, menopausal, perimenopause is associated with, first, not for every woman, but in many women it is associated with menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, which is again the play of the hormones, or irregular bleeding, heavy bleeding. So even cancers. So there is a play of hormone, and it manifests at different kind of diseases very distinct to that stage of life. Next slide, please. And if we want to understand the play of hormones according to the modern medicine, in women, it is a triad of hypothalamus, pituitary, and ovarian axis. And you see that hypothalamus and pituitary are in brain. It is only one organ in the abdomen. So Ayurveda have this mind-body approach, and it is very clear that for any kind of hormonal balance, we cannot take just one aspect of, like, just consider that body, but we always have to take into account mind, and mind is integrally connected to senses, and as we are conscious being. So an Ayurvedic approach of connection, balance, and harmony helps maintain the balance of the hormones inside the body. Next slide, please. So I already mentioned that common problems because of the hormonal imbalances at certain stages of life are like adolescent phase, PMS, irregular cycles, heavy bleeding, scanty periods, painful periods, and PCOS, infertility, subfertility, adenomyosis in the middle age, and the age advances during getting older, or perimenopausal phase is associated with perimenopausal bleeding, ovarian cyst, and early menopause. How we can manage? Ayurveda gives in our hand. Ayurveda is holistic in its approach. It addresses mind, body, soul, senses, or we can say it addresses our physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual well being. But how it does that? Ayurveda gives in our hand four powerful tools. One is in the form of our lifestyle, that we in Ayurveda we call vihar. And this lifestyle is personalized for that person and simplified at single day, like daily routine. In Ayurveda, we call it dincharya. The second approach is food. Food, again, we can choose to eat the best of the food, but Ayurveda says that it is very important how body is digesting it. And digestion is highly individual thing. Based on the vata, pitta, and kapha, every individual have their personalized digestion and metabolism. Some people have, like pitta people, where fire is the dominant element in their body and pitta is the regulating principle. They naturally have healthy and optimal digestion. They digest well and fast. Their metabolism is also optimal. For kapha people, which is the energy of earth and water, they naturally tend to have slow digestion and slow metabolism. And vata people, because it is the energy of movement, they naturally tend to have irregular digestion and metabolism. So Ayurveda is personalized in its approach. It understands the digestion of that person, makes food recommendations, and help them understand what is good for them, what is balancing for them. Along with that, Ayurvedic text also describe eating habits. Eating mindfully is one of them. So I will be talking about it in detail. So food and eating habits. The third tool is aushadh. Aushadh is a Sanskrit term for Ayurvedic medicines or Ayurvedic supplements. They could be herbs, single herbs like amla, ashwagandha, madhuyashti, even the turmeric, haridra, and more than 10,000 herbs has been described, their Sanskrit names and their uh, action in our body in the terms of Ayurvedic language. Ras, Gun, Virya, Vipak, Prabhav has been described in Ayurveda. Along with that, Ayurvedic medicine is also made from metals and minerals. Uh, Ayurvedic text says that anything that exists in this world can be used as medicine, even the poisons. So you see the antidotes for snake venom is made from the poisons, or snake poison is used as medicine. One of the deadliest poison, botulinum, is used for medicine and in the beauty industry. So Ayurveda says that everything that exists in this world can be used as medicine, and Ayurvedic medicines come from various resources. Plant resources are considered one of the safest and widely used. One of the most important tool of Ayurveda among the four is Panchkarma therapies. These are the detoxification processes. While a person understands their mind body type and follow the guidelines based on their mind body type, ahar and vihar, the food and lifestyle, even then, because body is in a dynamic state, there are various kinds of stressors, environment is in the dynamic state. So while following all these things, we tend to accumulate toxins in our body. So Ayurveda says that seasonal cleanses or routine cleanses are very helpful. These are indicated, these cleanses or detoxification therapies, panchkarma, are indicated as part of the therapeutics in certain diseases. They are also indicated, seasonal cleanses, that helps body age staying well, which comes as rasayan chikitsa, which is again a very unique thing to Ayurveda. Next slide, please. So I will be going into the details of each for everyone to understand and be able to practice. So talking about, and this is in general, talking about the lifestyle, Ayurveda simplifies it to every day, single day, how we can practice Ayurveda. Every day, everyone can practice Ayurveda. How? By following a dinacharya. Dinacharya means Ayurvedic daily routine. Din means day, and charya means regimen for the day. So, one of the things that Ayurveda advocates is waking up early in the morning, preferably before sunrise. As we wake up, this is the time to connect with the self and energies of the universe. We should feel blessed that we are alive. And where we are, we should understand and connect to that. Every day is not same. Some days we are happy and some days we are sad. The, people might be very anxious to start the day, and it is one of the best way to connect with the divine energies of the universe. And one should not feel alone, feel supported by the universe. Universe doesn't want anybody to be sick. Universe doesn't want anybody to be out of balance. So connecting to that helps. You see how the birds, trees, plants are. They are part of the nature and they are healthy. And these tender, delicate flowers out in the hot sun or in the high wind or through the storms, you see they are still there holding together and facing all these challenges. So when we connect to the nature, we are also deriving that strength from the nature. So this is very important for mental and emotional well-being. Then brush, floss and scrape the tongue, drink a glass of hot water. It supports healthy bowel movement. Ayurveda recommend taking shower in the morning. After that, lighting a lamp or doing a small prayer connecting to the divine energies is good. People who want to exercise, this is the time to exercise and do yoga, go for walk, cycling. Ayurveda considers morning as the best time for exercise. And then shower. Eating breakfast, Ayurveda says that eat according to your appetite. Everybody doesn't feels hungry in the morning. It is okay to start your day with just a ginger tea or warm water and eat when you feel hungry. One can save the appetite and eat lunch as the main meal of the day. Slow down from the evening so that you can go to the bed feeling calm and get a good night's sleep. So this is a general template for everyone to follow from Ayurveda. Let us see why we should do all these things. Next slide, please. So human body have a circadian rhythm. When we do certain things at certain time of the day, our body feels less stressed and we are more into our own rhythm of the things. And this is the thing that we say is the balance. And this balance helps maintain the metabolism, physiology, and eventually hormonal balance of the body. Ayurveda has always said that do certain things at certain time of the day to maintain health, maintain well-being. How it does that? By maintaining the balance, by maintaining the harmony. There is a rhythm of these physiological activities. There is a rhythm. There is a play of these in the body. They work in tuning with each other, and this has been proved in 2017. Nobel Prize was given for physiology and medicine to the scientist who proved at cellular level there is a circadian rhythm. So certain cells of our body are tuned to the energies of the environment and their function is optimal at the certain time of the day. And that is the meaning of the circadian rhythm at molecular level. And see how the body works. Cells come together to form tissues, specialized tissues come together to form organ, and various organs come together to perform a function in the body. Say for digestive system, right? It is salivary glands, stomach, intestines, rectum, and liver is helping in that, secreting enzymes, gallbladder is helping in that, and our mind, the connection to the nervous system. So this is the whole system, but its function is optimal at the certain time of the day. And Ayurveda has always advocated what I was saying in our daily routine is do certain things at certain time, waking up early, slowing down from the evening, eating the lunch as the main meal. So this has been supported by the modern research as well. Next slide, please. Morning routine, waking up early, supports healthy elimination. There is a published research that says that there is a colonic clock in our body, and it is sensitized to empty the colon in the morning. So when we wake up early in the morning, it supports that. Waking up early, how early? Ayurveda says Brahma Muhurte Uttishte. That means about 40 minutes to an hour before sunrise. And you see, sunrise time changes with the season, and that is the seasonal routine. It is not fixed that you wake up 6 o'clock every day. It is our connection to the nature is waking up before the sunrise. Next slide, please. Ayurveda advocates eating the lunch as the main meal and at the noon time. So research indicates there is a diurnal variation to the enzymes that help in digestion, and their optimal secretion of certain enzymes, particularly related to postprandial lipase activity in the blood, is peak around the noontime. So you see, Ayurveda is again proved right by the modern research. Next slide, please. Night routine. So there is a circadian rhythm, and when we go, natural secretion of melatonin starts from the evening, and it peaks around 2 in the midnight. So Ayurveda says that as pitta is optimal during noontime, at night time it is optimal between 10 to 2 p.m. So it is very important to go to bed. Waking up early also implies to going to bed on time. It is important to go to bed by 9:30, 10 p.m. to the max 10:30 p.m. Because when we do not, it is like when you do not reach there on time, you miss the bus and you do not reach your destination. You can get your optimal sleep around 2 o'clock only when you get into the bus around the at the pickup point. So 10:30, when you get into the bus, your sleep will be optimal. And this is the time body does all the metabolism. And for the best optimal metabolism, but it needs body at sleep and rest. So again, for hormonal balance, what are the hormonal balances? It is the play of secretions from endocrinal glands, and it is very much related to our metabolism. So to get hormonal balance, sleep and rest is very important. Next slide, please. And there is a research paper. Women are very much concerned about the look of their skin, and sleep deprivation ages quicker. This may motivate many of you to go to bed on time. Next slide, please. So here are the benefits of Ayurvedic daily routine, that it not only brings discipline, but it helps support our physiology, metabolism, hormonal balance. It helps us have better immunity, better strength in our body, and it also brings peace, happiness, and satisfaction. Next slide, please. Ayurvedic Dincharya is called Rasayan, that is, it is rejuvenating. So it helps in healthy aging and longevity. And pranayam, next slide, please. Pranayam, breathing exercises, meditation, and yoga are integral part of Ayurvedic daily routine. Next slide, please. And the next thing, or the next powerful tool of Ayurveda, is ahar. Ahar means, you can also say it as nutrition, what we eat and how our body digests it and how much nourishment do we get. We are talking about, always related to the food, always about what we are getting. Ayurveda talks about the waste that body creates of the digestion and of the metabolism. It is also the part of the digestive health, how we are eliminating. So we do not create these toxins in our body when we follow certain routines, follow certain guidelines, and eat food according to our mind body type, eat food adequate to the age, eat food adequate for the season. Along with that, there are certain rules, guidelines. These are called Ashtvid Ahar Visheshayatan, 8 golden rules. So I have simplified it as 10: sitting down calmly, eating mindfully, avoid overeating. So 3-4 things that everybody should remember, because food is getting digested by fire. It is very important to not serve cold food as main meal. And eating mindfully is important. I will elaborate on that in my next slide. Here we see in America, there are kind of drive-throughs. You just go order your food, and while you are driving and eating. Ayurveda absolutely contradicts that. Eat mindfully, sit down peacefully, and eat your food. It helps you avoid overeating, it helps you enjoy the taste, and it also brings satisfaction. Along with that, it creates less toxins in your body. Next slide, please. So there is a gut brain link. Uh, Next slide. I will elaborate in my next slides. Everybody knows that why we should eat mindfully. There is a gut brain axis. Our enteric nervous system, since past 2-3 decades, modern science have been started advocating that we have two brains here, and other is in our gut. The second brain is the enteric nervous system. The nerve cells of the enteric nervous system are of the nature as the brain cells, and there are almost 100 million neurons. So what goes on here affects here. You might see from this example, you are going for a party, and while you are driving, you come across a very bad accident. You lose your appetite, you lose your enthusiasm. What happens? It is just a sight that eye has seen and connected to the brain, and it affects your appetite. So you see there is a gut brain connection. Next slide, please. If we are very excited, like people watch game and eat food, they should either watch game or they should either eat food. Mindful. And the biggest nerve, the 10th longest nerve of the central nervous system, uh, it performs many functions in the body, but it's one of the functions is related to the digestion. Is it brings only 20% signals from the brain, it takes 80% signals from the gut. So when we are not doing things right, it affects our brain. Depression, sadness, anxiety, these all are also having their roots in unhealthy digestion. And anxiety affects the menstrual health directly. You see, during examination, the examination is stress, the girls may miss their periods. Or the physical training, as athletes train, their stress, physical and mental, they may go into a short period of amenorrhea. Next slide, please. So mindful eating is important, and there are various neurotransmitters that gut produces. Almost these are 300 to 600 neurotransmitters that when we digest well, as the name suggests, these neurotransmitters, they initiate reactions, they control and moderate and modulate reactions, they terminate reactions. Once the process has started, its function is complete and it needs to be terminated. When all these functions are controlled by neurotransmitters, and these neurotransmitters are being produced by the gut, it is very important to have healthy digestion. All these things that these neurotransmitter control in our body would be disturbed if neurotransmitters are not correct. Correct neurotransmitters would be produced only when digestion is correct. So mindful eating is important. Next slide, please. So another important thing to understand is Agni and Ama concept. Ayurveda says that we have this digestive fire in our body. When we eat well, our body digests well, we create this strength, body immunity, and feel peace and calm in our mind. That is called ojas. When we are not eating well, or when we are eating well but body is not digesting well, then our body creates certain toxins, because that food is anyways going inside the body. It is not being digested, something is happening to that. What is happening? It is converting to toxins. So product of improper digestion is toxins. These toxins in Sanskrit are called ama. Why we should know about it? It is important when we are talking about women health. It is important to know because these toxins are very notorious. They are sticky, thick substances, and they are oily in nature. They go and block the channels of the body, and body on its own is not able to expel it. So when these toxins are created and they block the channels of the reproductive system, then it may lead to heavy bleeding, it may lead to amenorrhea, it may lead to PCOS, it may lead to various problems. Next slide, please. So healthy digestion is again very important. And one tool that you may want to go home thinking that what I learned from Ayurveda about digestion is drinking warm water. Start your day by drinking a glass of hot water, and throughout the day when you are not hungry, just sip warm water. skip a meal, and you will see that your appetite comes back and your body will digest it well. How it affects is, in our body, this fire, if you keep on pouring cold food or cold water, it diminishes it. A weak fire cannot digest food well. So it is very important to be mindful. So uh, 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 it is very strange that when we go to eat out, we have to request for warm water, which most of the restaurants do not serve. Here, people serve chilled water or simply ice, and people are eating lunch or dinner and sipping on that. No wonder so many people are suffering these days. So keep in mind, either do not, first thing is, do not drink lots of water when you are eating. If you have to sip on water which is at room temperature or lukewarm, do not drink cold water when you are eating meals. Next slide, please. And the third powerful tool of Ayurveda, I spoke about daily routine, lifestyle, ahar. I spoke about food, uh, lifestyle, vihar, and food, ahar. Now, herbs and formulations. So, Ayurvedic herbs are powerful. Spices or herbs, they are powerful. And so you may want to know, what is the difference between a spice and herbs and food. Food have the same qualities, but we have to eat a larger amount to get those properties. Spices are having the same qualities, but they still need to be used daily or in a certain amount to get that benefit. But herbs are more powerful. They give those properties by taking very little amount in measured doses for a limited period of time. They all are made up of 5 elements. They all have these same qualities, but how much we have to take to get that benefit makes it food or a herb or a spice. So, for women health, one of the very distinct herb is shatavari. Its name suggests its effect on the body. It is a Sanskrit word that means Shatvidya. The women who consume it are able to give birth to 100 children. So, talking again, I have read the disclaimer and I want to emphasize, these are powerful herbs. Do not use on your own. The benefits of Shatavari, it helps regulate menstruation in all kind of menstrual problems. It supports fertility, it supports menopause, but always use it after the consulting with the doctor. It can be taken with milk, it can be taken with honey, it can be cooked with the milk as chirpa can taken. It can be made into a jam with other herbs that we call shatavari layam. Ashoka is another important herb. It has its role on mind and body as well. Its name suggests Ashoka. That means it alleviates the this sorrow or sadness from our mind and diseases from our body. Dukh in Ayurveda is one of the synonyms of disease. And many of you, if you have heard the story of Ram and Ravan, the our religious history, that when Ravan has taken Sita by force, he has kept her in Ashok Vatika, that is a garden full of Ashoka trees. Otherwise, Sita might have died because of her sorrow, this grief of separation from Ram and being abducted by a demon. She might have lost her life. So, Ramat was intelligent to keep her, because just the presence of these trees has that environment that supported Sita, Ashoka. So, there are other herbs, and I want to emphasize that Ayurvedic formulations are polyherbal compounds. There could be more than 50 or sometimes 72 herbs in one combination. It could be herbs and metals together in a combination, and they have been used for thousands of years. uh, why Ayurveda has failed to create research evidence? Because this is so personalized in its approach that this has failed to replicate this model as we do in lab. That replication is not possible. But there are various case studies, and there are various published papers to support that also. Next slide, please. So, here I want to emphasize, when I'm talking about women health, balance, and well being, Sexual health. Ayurveda says that the three pillars to life are ahar, nidra, and brahmacharya. So, brahmacharya here refers to the action of our senses, sensorial perceptions, and sexual health. Reproductive organ is there. Sexual tendencies start from adolescent age and continue till menopause, and it is important to educate the adolescent girl as they enter this phase of life, to be aware of that, how to understand, be there as moms, as friends, as teachers, educate them. And when this sexual energy in the body is not nourished, nurtured, and satisfied, that also can lead to various mental problems. No doubt, Ayurveda calls it one pillar of the life. This has the power to generate. It is through sex between male and female that a life comes to earth. So it is very powerful. Understanding it, channelizing it, and having a health related to sex is very important. It's education and practice. So any talk on women health will not be complete without referring that Ayurveda recognizes it, and there are various guidelines. Due to the limited time frame that I have to speak, I would not be able to go into the detail about sexual health, menopausal health, maybe some other time. Next slide, please. Where you can get all this knowledge. So, like I was saying, in the history, for hundreds of years, almost 100 years, Ayurveda was banned in the India. But many of the books were destroyed, teachers were silenced, but many books are still available. Charak Samhita, Shushruta Samhita, and Ashtang Hridayam are considered three great books of Ayurveda. Other than that, Madho Nidan is it is Nidan Panchak, book of diagnosis, where diseases has been described, their signs, symptoms, prodromal symptoms, etiopathogenesis, and this has been described. And there are Nighantu of Dravyagun, where the plant, its parts, its use, its effect on the body has been described in detail. Many of these this Dravyagun book also have described cooking, various dishes, use of spices. So there are books where you can get this knowledge. One thing you might want to remember, like anybody can buy this book and read it, it is not like that. These books are not organized as physiology, anatomy, and pathology, but the subject matter is interwoven in a certain way that there is a way to read these books and understand. To learn that, some precursor knowledge, preliminary knowledge of Sanskrit and these 6 schools of ancient India that we call Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Yog, Mimamsa, and Vedant is required. So it is a profound science, and it is also complex when we do not understand it. I tried to simplify it for women health. I hope you found it helpful. Next slide, please. This is all for today. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vandana. It was a great presentation. It's so important for us to hear from you some basic principles of Ayurveda. And I don't know if you have some questions by the audience, maybe.
Yes, please, shoot them my way.
Yes, maybe we can put on the chat if someone want to ask something. Oh, I see some friends here. Margaret and Carlos. Will this presentation be available? Viviane, I must ask for Dr. Vandana if it's possible, because she has her own direct of image. I don't know, maybe later I can answer this question. We have another question from Carolina. She's asking about Sankhya, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. if these philosophies are the basis of Ayurveda. Could you
Yes.
explain?
The principles and practice of Ayurveda is based on Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Yoga, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. So I will give you one example. Like from Sankhya. Sankhya means it is related to, as the name suggests, number, counting. So Ayurveda considers, we had a symposium, it is described in Charak Samhita. Whom do we treat? Chikitse Purush. So do we treat consciousness? Do we treat mind? Do we treat senses? So, in the symposium, there were many sages present, and they said that we treat this person who is made up of these 24 elements. So, five, I will not go into the detail of the elements, that would be too much for this presentation. But what I am trying to tell that yes, Ayurveda takes its principles of practice from the six schools that are Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Yoga, Mimamsa, and Vedanta.
Oh,
Like
perfect.
Ayurveda believes that what is the purpose of Ayurveda? So it is dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Moksha is that we are bound in the cycles of life and death, which is described in yoga. Krishna has told to Arjun that it is cycle of life and death. What you do, your actions, you cannot escape the result. This is called karma yoga. And Ayurveda also says that moksha, to, to be free, this life itself is a misery. To be free from the cycles of life and death is the eventual goal of Ayurveda. So it takes this principle from the Nashtiki yoga. This is called Naishtiki yoga. So, yes, and that was a very good question.
Thank you, Carolina, for your question. I want to make one question, if
Please
I
go
can.
ahead.
You said a lot about You said about the plants that can be used here for menopause or for women health, and I want to you make a very special advertisement about the not use the plants without a indication of the health professional, because they are very powerful, and use it by our own self maybe can be very dangerous. But I want to ask you about if you could give us one or two spices that can be used daily for women that are going through the menopause. What do you suggest? What kind of spices can be added for our nutrition, for our ahara daily
Yes.
routine?
So I would give you some of these things that everybody can use. One is ginger. In Ayurveda, ginger has been called as Mahushad or Vishwa Bheshaj, universal medicine. Why? Because it supports digestion, it supports metabolism. So every woman can sip little ginger tea during menopausal phase. It will not, many women think that it will aggravate pitta. It does not. So, uh, interestingly, the fresh ginger is drying to the body, and wet ginger brings this dried ginger powder brings unctuousness to the body. Snigdha. So ginger can be taken as fresh, just grate. Take two pinch of, not two pinch, but take half teaspoon of grated ginger, boil in a cup of water and sip on that. That helps with healthy digestion, and healthy digestion is at the core of all the problems in Ayurveda. The second, I would say, the women who are having hot flashes or who are having urinary symptoms, burning of the urine, recurrence of because dryness of the vagina causes burning of micturition also, and when they visit many a times they have been through cycles of antibiotics. So for such women in Ayurveda has been described dhanyak panak. Dhanyak panak is nothing but coriander seeds. Sanskrit name is kustumbru. So you soak 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds, the whole coriander seeds, soak it in a cup of water. Just leave it overnight covered on your kitchen top. The next day you just strain it and mix little sugar depending on other factors of your life. Someone is diabetic, they should not, but otherwise classical text says that add little, like quarter teaspoon of evaporated cane sugar, mix it well and drink it first thing in the morning. It helps in the hot flashes, it helps in the urinary problems. And related to vaginal dryness, For that, some of the herbs that have been proved very effective are a combination herbs like guduchi, shatavari, madhuyashti. So that would be kind of, I would suggest that although these are effective, the persons should consult medical doctor and check how they can use. But one thing about is every aging women should have some herb. This is said in Charak Samhita that we should start taking these herbs from the middle life itself to help and support aging, to delay aging, because they are rasayan, rejuvenating herbs. So every woman should add. It is just that you need to talk to your doctor and start taking it. Like for me, I use the combination of herbs. I use a combination of 7 herbs: amalki, madhuyashti, guduchi, chitrak. But I understand my constitution, my that we say prakriti and vikriti, and where in the life as stage of the life aging I am. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes. You give two very important tips using haridra and haridra, not, using ginger and uses coriander seeds.
Coriander seeds.
Yes, this is available for us in Brazil. It's very important for because
So
gudush
I can
and
give you another tip also.
okay.
It is from grains like rice. So women who are having heavy bleeding or irregular bleeding, this is called tandulodak. It is again described in Charak Samhita, tandulodak. That means this raw rice. Take one tablespoon of raw rice, just wash it once to clean it, and then soak it overnight in a quarter cup of water. Next day, strain this water and drink it. It helps in, it is a stambak, styptic. So it helps in women who are having heavy bleeding during perimenopausal phase. But
Oh,
again, these are little things they can add, but for their problems, they should consult. And Dr. Nina, I would like to offer you can share my email and my presentation with anyone who is interested. They
oh,
uh, people I am open to answer your questions. Feel free to reach out to me. Dr. Nina, you can share my email and presentation with anyone who wants.
okay, thank you very much. I will share the presentation with the email in our Instagram of the lab, Botânica Aplicada Instagram. And thank you very much. And as you said, Ayurveda is a very personal medicine and a very personal treatment. So we can give all those kinds of tips and indications, but the best way to practice Ayurveda is to looking for a health professional that has a deeply information, a deeply knowledge on Ayurveda. Thank you very much. Dr. Vandana, do you want to give us your last words?
Well, first thing is thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very thankful to you. Spreading the word of Ayurveda is the purpose of kind of very core to my heart, that simply sharing this knowledge and helping others live well. So I'm very thankful to you. And my last word is whatever you learn from today's talk, choose one thing like waking up early or going to bed on time or eating your lunch as main meal. Choose something, be in charge of your life, and start taking care of yourself. This life is precious, and this is meant to live well, enjoy. This happiness and joy, it will not come from outside, it is within you. Just be who you are, feel happy, and live this life with a peace and calm. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you very much, Vandana. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for give to have you here with us today, and all the audience you have. Some friends that joined the presentation, that joined the live, and maybe I hope this is the first of our lives from the lab. Maybe you can have more lessons, more classes with you or with other friends that you can invite it. And thank you very much again for
See you.
this special day. Tomorrow it will be Diwali, so
Yes.
today it's a very special day between the Vantari Day and tomorrow the Diwali. So a happy Diwali for you and for your family too. and for everyone.
Thank you so much. And may this festival bring joy, prosperity, and health to everyone. Happy Diwali to everyone. Namaste.
Namastê. Obrigada a todo mundo que estava aqui presente. A gente vai deixar o arquivo com a apresentação da professora Vandana e o e-mail dela lá no Instagram do Laboratório. Espero que essa seja a primeira de outras transmissões que a gente faça. Deixa depois o comentário para a gente lá ou aqui no nosso canal, no Instagram. Muito, muito obrigada a todo mundo mesmo. E a gente vai ficando por aqui. Um abraço, pessoal. Tchau, tchau.